Okay, so I got a couple Chinese elms that I've been experimenting with, keeping them cool over the winter, so not coming inside.
Okay.
A lot of people keep their Chinese elms as they treat them as tropicals.
Yeah.
So these ones will go in the outside fridge, and they'll stay at 5. So I'll get a lot of really nice fall colors on them.
Cool. And do they lose their leaves, or?
Yes. Yeah, they'll lose their leaves.
It's a good time to prune them when they're dormant, I guess, eh?
Yeah, I normally get the elms in, or do a spring or a late fall pruning. Behind it is a seiju elm.
Wow.
So this is a really like a dwarf Chinese elm.
Yeah.
Again, this one is temperate, so it goes into the hothouse in the winter.
Okay. Not a
another clump, silver maple.
Oh yeah. Fusing at the base down here, eh? Wow.
Another porcelain berry.
Okay.
This is a non-variegated type.
Wow.
And it's got a little bit of a thicker base in there.
Oh yeah.
Really interesting.
Quite a bit, eh? Wow.
A dwarf birch. I think it's a Sesky gold or Chesky gold.
Okay.
It doesn't have the white bark, but it has that nice kind of almost coppery birch bark,
is really
and then
nice.
a little tiny birch leaves that are
that is cool.
Naturally that yellow. I guess it's called a Setsky gold, and I guess the gold is for that.
That is cool. That is a nice little tree,
I'm gonna keep it really small.
Yeah. You could have like a bright red pot or something for it.
Yeah, that's really, a great idea.
With a lot of contrast.
Beside it is a dwarf ginkgo.
Right.
So this I learned from your viewers as well. Thanks, guys. So this is the female variety without the. So this one has a complete bottom.
Yeah.
And then the males have a division
or something.
Yeah. So people call them like this is the skirt.
Okay.
And then the males have pants because they look like two pants.
Good way to remember.
But this is a really small one. A really small leaf, and I think they're only single flush, but they're putting out buds.
Okay. Nice shape to it, isn't it? Nice,
yeah, and it's got a good root base on it already.
Spreading root base, and
they really grow upright. They have a really upright growing variety. You see a lot of them in clump styles and stuff like that.
Yeah, good forest tree, I guess.
Yeah. Cool. Behind it is my American hornbeam.
Okay.
And this one, when I was talking about a little bit over there, I think I pruned this too much.
Okay.
So this is probably its like 3rd or 4th flush.
Okay.
And I pruned this back a couple weeks ago, and you can see buds are definitely pushing, and there's lots of buds.
Yeah.
So it's really strong. I just don't know if it's gonna have enough time to develop those buds before the fall.
I see.
And I took it back kind of hard.
Right.
So I'm gonna protect this over the winter because basically it doesn't have a lot of solar panels left to give it the energy to get it through winter.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of concerned, but it's looking good. If I get it through winter, the buds for next year are going to be really small and really pushing.
Yeah. So you baby it this winter.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very cool.
Up front in this is a quince, Japanese quince, and I've been told this has a white flower, which is really interesting. I haven't seen it flowered yet. It's just kind of a cutting there. So this is a little European beech.
Nice.
It's got really small leaves. It had some bugs on it, but it's doing really well. So I didn't root prune it because I was kind of worried about those bugs.
Yeah.
But it pushed out really well and growing strong this season.
Nice, looking good, isn't it?
Yeah, this is I've been taking, these are the seiju elms that I've been taking cuttings from the bigger ones.
Yeah.
So I'm here a couple more.
And you just plant the cuttings in soil and they root, or?
So these are air layers, actually. Sorry,
air layers,
my mistake.
okay.
Air layers.
Air layers, okay.
So I have 3 here, and I'm gonna put them in a forest with this.
Okay.
And
wow.
this is the Primo Thuya. So this is the dwarf Thuya that looks like a Hinoki cypress.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna grow it. I want to recreate kind of the iconic Canadian forest, which is you have the Pinus strobus that sticks up a head or 2 taller than all of the deciduous trees.
Yeah.
So this is going to be my Pinus strobus.
I see.
With that really unique windswept top of the. Basically, sometimes when you see them, they only have this sticking over the head of the forest, and they're always like 20 meters or 20 feet higher than all the other trees in the forest. And then, so I'm going to plant them with these seiju elms, which are really tight foliage, which will match really well with the, and these will kind of just look like any kind of deciduous tree.
Yeah, it'll be a good scale to go with that.
So that's even going to go right there.
Yeah.
And then I have some smaller ones, and it's going to be a really interesting mixed forest.
Very cool. That'll be fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I have a couple more. I'm just trying to collect more of these to get more of a forest feel.
Yeah.
Beside it is a Korean dwarf lilac.
Okay, yeah.
So this was a very hard prune. You guys, it was in a big container over on the other side. You guys may remember seeing it, and it kind of had an octopus head. So I took really big cuts, big branches out of it.
Looks good. It recovered nicely, didn't it?
Recovered really well.
Wow.
Beside that is a rhododendron. So this is in kind of the same family as the azaleas.
Okay. Wow,
so I think it's like a PJM or anyways, PJM I believe is the acronym. PJM rhododendron or some 3-letter word.
Yeah.
But it has normally darker leaves, so these are fresh leaves. That's why they're very green.
I see.
And then it has the purple, really purple, dark purple flowers.
Cool. That is really nice, Connor.
So they're basally dominant. So they that means they put out shoots near the bottom really easily. So that's a great feature to have for bonsai.
Yeah.
That basically means it's going to back bud very strongly.
Right.
Like so I did a big trunk here, and you can see that a ton of back budding on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Above it is a paper bark maple.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Really unique kind of maple. One of my favorite trees. I've been trying to grow it forever. It has like birch bark, like this flaky red, really nice red coppery bark.
Peeling bark.
And then a compound. So this is kind of its only disadvantages is the compound leaf. It has 3 leaf types, so it's okay. Like it's obviously small.
Yeah.
And then they have spectacular fall colors. So this is the new growth. You can see the new growth comes out really red.
Yeah.
But really spectacular fall colors. Very hard to germinate from seed.
Yes.
That's nursery stock.
Very cool.
This is an American plum.
Yeah.
Really cool species, very hardy, and really nice plum to grow in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
You can see the plums have like this bark is just going to get real black. It's going to continue to blacken up, flaking up, and then they have a really nice white flower. So the contrast on those plums, really awesome.
Yeah.
And back buds profusely.
Very nice, very nice.
In front of it, this is a small Amur maple.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this one. So maybe I'll flip the trunk.
Okay. Yeah.
Really cool clump style.
Wow.
Couple big trunks, but you can see just very vigorous. I have to come in here and rub the buds off.
I see.
Again, this is like 3rd or 4th flush. Just been
small and powerful. This tree, eh? Wow.
Feeding it. It's the red flame variety, so it gets like this burning bush, like almost bright red flush of fall colors. Beside it is a purple barberry.
Oh, look at that, eh?
So this is from nursery stock as well. But like no other nursery stock I've really ever seen. Great buttress base. Yeah. And so I did a hard trim, and it's just like pushing back.
Ancient old tree, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It really gets. I think I really get that apple feel from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially they'll also put out berries. I know you don't have purple apple leaves, but I think it will be a convincing apple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beside it, more seiju. So this is kind of where I'll take my air layers. So this straight growth, really, some people would say is not good for bonsai, but really good for forest plantings.
I see,
nice and straight.
To get a trunk in.
Yeah, so in spring I'll repot it so it's vertical, like I mentioned about the gravity and stuff, and then I'll put more air layers on it.
I see. Yeah.
Just to kind of increase the number of the forest. Behind it is a red bud.
Okay, wow.
Oh no, sorry, not a red bud, a katsura. Katsura tree, which have kind of like this heart-shaped red bud leaves as well.
Yeah.
Beautiful fall colors on the katsura. And small, really circular leaves, and it's got a cool root base. There's actually 2 trees in there.
Is that the one they call the Judas tree, or is that a different one? That might be a different one. But yeah, I've seen these in the parks and that.
Yeah, really.
They get little bean pods on them.
Yeah, and they grow well from those pods.
Not a bean pod, more like a pea or something.
Yeah, it's flat.
Yeah, flat pod.
This is the mother tree of the other Kotohime maples. So you can see, I did a massive trunk chop.
Yes.
So that's the only best way to describe it, but it just has a wide fat base. So I'm going to grow this in kind of like the contrived sumo style.
Yeah.
I think everyone's got to have maybe one of those. So I basically cut it back to the first branch, and I'm going to imply that my tried and true bonsai technique, cut one branch trunk, and then I'm developing. So this is a 10, 20 year project, but the base is just phenomenal.
And luckily they grow quickly, don't they?
Yeah. So this, there was no branches here a year or two ago. I think this is a 2-year branch.
Amazing.
So very vigorous, very, very compact, great species for bonsai, the Kotohimi.
Yeah.
Behind it is another European birch. So this was like an 8-foot garden center tree.
Wow.
And this is probably one of the best garden center materials that I think I'll ever find.
Nice.
Completely radial, nice flat Nabari.
Yeah.
Again, 2 big trunks, and it's grown back. So
Very
again,
cool.
overwatering, I think.
Okay.
I think for me the biggest thing when I see this chlorosis, overwatering.
I see.
Because I know I'm fertilizing. I know I'm giving water. So how else am I getting this kind of reaction if it's just too much water?
Yeah.
And that screws up the nutrients balance. Basically, it's like there's a nutrient deficiency, but there's enough nutrients in the soil. It just can't get to the leaves because of the water and the pressure differential.
I see.
Another big ginkgo.
Oh yeah.
The front's kind of on this side, so you can swing it around on the back. A taller one. Less dwarf than the other one, so it's going to be a little taller.
Yeah, female again.
Yeah. And I bought this one early spring, so I didn't see the leaves, so I got really lucky. Because I think the female ones are a little more coveted than the males.
They'll get the fruit eventually, won't they? Which is kind of nice, whereas the males won't.
In front of it is a Korean hornbeam. So this is the normal hornbeam that we really like to see for bonsai.
Nice.
But I'm playing around with the American hornbeam because I think it's going to be just as good.
I see.
But yeah, this was grown from seed, I believe, by Michael Roussel, a great bonsai artist. So he's taken really good care of it.
Yeah.
There are some bigger branches, so he's just been growing it. So I did a hard prune, and you can see it coming back really strong.
Cool. Nice root base.
Yeah.
Really well.
In front of it, a small, a little leaf linden.
Okay.
So just from seedling. And again, a really hard cutbacks and stuff. So it's just pushing out, and it's
developing nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another Kotohimi. So this was the apex of that one. So a cutting of a cutting.
Wow.
An air layer of an air layer. And the same thing. I really pushed this back really hard. So did a really tight chop, and then I'm just focusing on growing these branches.
Yeah.
So I'm coming in here. You see all this? Like, this is how much it back buds. Like, look, there's like eight or so buds in there, and if you don't rub them out, you'll form this kind of ugly branch. So I have to go in here and rubbing it out all the time.
So you're always collecting it.
Or because like it will take a long time for the bark to grow over that. It will eventually, but it's
lumpy.
Yeah. Behind it, a smoke bush.
Smoke bush, cool.
Very excited for that. No flowers this year, but cool kind of meaty trunk.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be like this weird kind of cascadey kind of thing.
Yeah.
It basically comes up and then loops back down.
It's cool.
I left it really big because I want the smoke bush puts out those puffy flowers.
Yeah.
So I left it as a big kind of design.
Yeah, because that'll look cool. They get really nice bark on them as they get old.
I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
Another quince.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure what kind of variety. It hasn't flowered yet for me, but I kind of like it. It's a twin trunk.
Okay.
So it has this little trunk down here.
Down here.
And then this one's pretty vertical. So nice kind of like mother-daughter or father, I forget what. I think it's the mother-daughter.
Yeah.
A singular silver maple. So out of the 100+ seeds, I selected the one with the best root base.
Okay.
So this one has a near perfect root base already.
So that's your specimen.
Yeah, so I kept it separate from the other ones, and it's growing really strong.
That is cool. Very cool. How old would that be, Connor?
Just this year from seed.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, sorry, 2 years. Sorry.
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Second year.
Yeah, second year. So I hundreds of them in one pot. Grew kind of like you grow your forest or put seeds in.
Yeah.
Then I separated them. I made those clumps, and then I picked the best one for the single tree.
Very cool.
Here, this is the Amur forest that I was telling you before was on the limestone.
Yeah.
So you can see now it's just kind of on a flatter slab.
Looks healthy.
Yeah, much like no.
So this was what it was looking like before.
Yes, exactly. Except but this everywhere.
Sort of the light color, eh?
Yeah, and this one could be just a little dry on this side. This is the smaller side of the slab.
Yeah.
This is the back, but some really nice. Look at this base on this.
Yeah. It's coming along really nicely, isn't it?
nice. I don't know what this is. Bellflower. So I've just some accent plants that I haven't really got into pots yet.
Yeah.
But
I recognize purple or button planter.
Yeah, brass buttons.
Brass buttons.
Yeah,
That's it.
nice.
Not
Exactly.
purple buttons. Brass buttons.
Up here is another collected hawthorn.
Oh yeah! Wow.
So this is a really
That's a beauty, isn't it?
yeah, really tall, kind of elegant design to it.
Yeah.
Great old bark. So these came out of a farmer's field with just grazing. So they're weeds for them. They don't like them because the cows, the thorns, they can kind of screw up the cows if they munch on them.
Yep.
So they consider them weeds. So if you can ask, you have farmers around, just ask them if they have any stuff in their pasture fields, and they'll normally be happy for you to take it out.
Amazing. That's going to be quite a tree in the future.
So again, in my rough bark kind of material.
Yeah.
Really excited, growing strong.
Very cool.
This is a little twist crabapple.
Okay.
So unique variety of crabapple. Growing really strong. Haven't really seen much berries yet on it. I think they were cuttings from another material, so there's 2 actually in there. So
okay.
I tried to spy the pot with multiple.
Yeah.
It beat me back because like one is pretty much dead and the other one's really strong. So hopefully for 2.
Yeah.
This one I think is worth me turning around.
Okay.
It's kind of fun.
This is a
honeysuckle.
Honeysuckle, yeah.
Yes. But really fun, really cool.
Oh my goodness! Look at this, eh?
I call this my Dagobah tree because I'm going to 3D print a Yoda or something.
That would be cool.
It looks like his hut.
That looks cool.
But this honeysuckle, super vigorous.
Yeah.
Several cutbacks again this year. Where are their berries? I had berries on it somewhere.
And they're a tree that the deadwood lasts a fair long time, doesn't it?
Yeah. So you can see this one's already been exposed a little bit, and it's whitening off and stuff very naturally.
Yeah.
It's a little tall, so I'm going to maybe do a more severe cutback.
I see.
But it growing well, basket, bonsai soil.
Very cool.
Same thing, different species. Where's that berry? Anyways, maybe a bird probably came in and got it. But it has a nice little red berry.
Yeah.
And beautiful pink flowers. Behind us we have a dwarf euonymus, burning bush.
Burning bush.
This is the Little Moses variety, which I've been told is the best, the most dwarf burning bush.
Cool.
I didn't know this. I was about to prune it, and then I was told not to because burning bushes are single flush.
Yes.
So if I prune back to like my first leaf bud, it would have sat there all summer.
Also, yeah, they don't grow again. I learned that too.
Yeah. So this is definitely one you only prune in spring.
Yeah.
So it put out this. I got it midsummer, so it's just in there. It's going to be transitioned and pruned kind of at the same time.
Yeah, it's funny. You prune it and it doesn't change the whole summer.
And then you get worried. So this is my English oak.
Oh, nice.
So I was telling you, Nigel, last time we were here, or last time we were together, about the second flush of the English oaks, and I think you got it at the same time too. But basically, English oaks will produce a second flush if they're vigorous, and you can tell that when the buds start swelling.
Okay.
So it kind of happened early July, I think, for us, mid-July, around Father's Day.
Yeah.
So yeah, early to mid-July, you'll see the buds start swelling again. And that's a good point that it's about to put out its second flush. So then I came in and I pruned off all that, pruned to back buds, and this is the second flush. So really tiny, growing really strong.
Yeah.
And like just budding everywhere.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, mine put out a really good second flush. Just really nice now.
So this one you guys will recognize. This is my tiny thyme bonsai.
Yeah. Still going strong?
Yeah. So I'm really focusing on branching.
Yeah.
But you can see I'll just cut the pads and then it'll regrow.
Yeah.
So right now it kind of looks pretty flat top. I did prune back the canopy, so eventually I want it somewhere like there.
Very nice, very nice.
But one of my useful bonsais because it makes nice seasoning.
There you go. See, bonsai is practical.
Yeah. This is a cool thuya that I collected, designed, and then chose the pot. So this is a local Angelo pot.
Oh yeah.
A really great potter. So I created this deadwood. It was the first time me doing deadwood. Bent all the branches in place.
Nice.
And now it's growing out and needs pruned again. So kind of a fun, cool collected
Looks
cedar.
great. Yeah, I like that. Big jade here.
Yeah, so this one I just pruned, and I'll flip it around.
Okay.
This was one of my first trees.
Okay.
And I really like the jades, and I think the jades are going to be really popular in bonsai coming up.
Yeah.
Because they're just more of the kind of newer lifestyle. You don't really have to water them very much.
Yeah.
You can go away on vacation for several weeks and months, and they'll be okay. But this started again. It was a multiple trunk. And you can see these were the first cuts I made, so this one's almost completely healed over.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
And that's how we were discussing before. That's really how the only way you can get kind of taper into these jades is you have to do those hard cuts, like Michael, you guys just did on your Porcelain afras.
Yeah, very nice. That's cool. It's looking really good.
Yeah, yeah. Behind it, I have a mixed planting of a white birch and a black spruce.
Cool.
So kind of fun.
That's a black spruce.
Yeah.
Very different from the ones with the other leaves.
Yeah.
Or the blue leaves.
Yeah, yeah. So this was a wild one, and those were basically grown kind of from seeds. So there's a much smaller foliage on this one.
That's amazing.
And doing really well. You can see I forced the new leader up, so it's just holding it there.
Yeah.
It's growing really strong. There might be, I think there's a cone on it somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, here's a.
Oh yeah. Well, how do they grow? Oh, did they grow up or down?
It was down.
Down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Korean ones will grow down.
Okay.
And just our classic paper birch next to it.
Nice.
Growing really well. I found pruning. A lot of people talk about how hard it is to prune birches.
Yeah.
I prune after the first flush of growth. So I don't prune in spring. Like that's why I think a lot of people will prune in spring and then it will die back. So let it push out its first growth.
Yeah.
Once it's hardened off and it's this dark color, then you can start pruning. So I pruned once. Last year I pruned this several times. This year I just haven't got to it, but I pruned it once. It's almost ready for another pruning.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll probably leave it because at the time of the year we are.
Cool.
Couple last ones, and I think we're going to be right on time on on the card. This is a hackberry.
Oh yeah.
And it's I guess it's a not a kusumono. Anyways, there's a specific word for moss ball.
Okay, yeah.
I forget. Kokodoma, that's the word.
Okay, okay.
So I just have it growing on this top of a coffee pod.
That's cool.
But it's really cool.
Just in the moss, eh?
Yeah, so I would show it like this.
Wow, that's cool.
And it kind of reminds me of a dancer. It's really, really elegant.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this, a little birch just kind of grew up there. Okay, everyone, that's it for my backyard benches. Thanks so much for coming and helping me figure out what trees I have in my backyard. It's a blast, and hopefully I'll be there for the live demo and get to chat with you guys in the comments. So thanks, Nigel, and thanks for coming over and doing the backyard.
Awesome. Thanks, Connor.
No problem.